The light of Latveria was a harsh, industrial yellow, a constant twilight beneath the shadow of Castle Doom. The air itself seemed charged, not merely with electricity, but with the subtle, deep hum of powerful, contained magic. In the Citadel's highest chamber, a chamber where science and sorcery merged into a single terrifying altar, a man stood. He was entirely encased in an armor of chrome and emerald, a perfect, chilling idol. This was Victor von Doom. He did not move, but the consoles around him flared with urgent, chaotic light. A map of the multiverse, projected in shimmering green glyphs, showed a severe trauma, a point of convergence, a sickness spreading through the fabric of existence. Doom knew this feeling intimately. It was the sensation of inadequacy, of a promise unkept, of a cosmic debt unpaid. In his mind, in the silence of the steel helmet, he could hear it. A distant, spectral wail, a sound ripped from a long-lost past in the shadows of the Devil's Backbone Mountain. His mother, the price of failure. Doom must not fail again. In the sister universe, the city of Metropolis was a gleaming, impossible monument to progress. In the penthouse suite of LuthorCorp Tower, Lex Luthor surveyed his kingdom. His own screen, a massive, flawless sheet of proprietary glass, displayed the exact same phenomenon, the spreading sickness, the multiversal fracture. But where Doom saw a threat to order, Luthor saw an opportunity for liberation. Luthor was not in armor. He was in a bespoke, silk-lined suit, his very posture a challenge to any who dared to look down upon him. He adjusted the cuff of his shirt, a small, involuntary movement of control. To him, this cosmic chaos was proof that the so-called gods, the red and blue wearing aliens, were fragile, fallible. Proof that the universe was ungovernable by anyone but the focused, unyielding intellect of man. He knew the cause of his hatred, but he never named it. He only saw the world through the lens of one question: who is superior? It was a competition he would not lose. Not to a farmer in a cape, and certainly not to a petty tyrant wearing a metal skirt. An automated alert flashed red across Luthor's screen. It was an anomaly signature, a massive, controlled power surge originating from the coordinates of the fracture point, a signature laced with impossible, non-Euclidean energy patterns. Luthor's lip curled. Arcane energy. How quaint. He activated his own counter-protocol, a cascade of pure, cutting-edge technology designed not to heal the fracture, but to harness it, to force the chaotic energy into the service of human supremacy. He was, in effect, trying to steer a cosmic earthquake with a surgical scalpel. A direct, unsolicited transmission cut through his system. The face of Dr. Doom, stylized and menacing, filled the central screen. The voice, synthetic and resonating with absolute authority, was a physical weight in the room. Cease your meddling, Luthor. Your primitive devices are destabilizing the temporal weave. Luthor's eyes narrowed, not in fear, but in profound intellectual offense. The man had interrupted him. The man had called his work primitive. He stood up slowly, walked to the screen, and placed a manicured hand on the glass, as if to physically push the arrogant image away. He spoke with a quiet, dangerous intensity, the calmness of absolute, unshakable self-belief. You mistake brute force and parlor tricks for genius, Victor. Your arcane energy is merely science you fail to comprehend. The Nexus device is not destabilizing reality, it is correcting it. I am not meddling. I am saving the multiverse from both the chaotic whims of the gods and the tyrannical impulses of self-appointed monarchs like you. Luthor did not wait for the inevitable retort. He terminated the transmission with a single sharp command, leaving only the image of the fractured cosmos on the screen. He had declared war, not with a weapon, but with an idea, the superiority of human intellect against the arrogance of inherited power. The shadow of Doom remained in the air, a silent, armored presence. Luthor turned his back to the image and walked toward the window, the city lights reflecting in his eyes. The game had begun. It was a test of wills, a test of genius, and only one ego could emerge intact. The response from Latveria was not immediate. Doom, the master strategist, the man who saw the universe as a complicated clockwork mechanism that only his mind could perfectly regulate, would not rush. The silence was more damning than any explosion. It was the quiet before a surgical strike.
I anticipated
Luthor sat at
your
his
every
command
move,
center, now
Luthor.
fully clad in his war
Your
suit,
mind is
the bulky
tragically
green and purple
predictable.
armor a technological shrine to his own power. He had initiated the counter-protocol, flooding Doom's systems with a phantom virus. Not a destructive program, but a map, a detailed schematic of the structural flaws in the Latverians' magical and technological systems. He was not trying to destroy Doom, merely to dissect him. To prove the magic, the arrogance, was merely an elaborate disguise for weakness.
This isn't a blackout, it's a
He looked at a
collapse.
secondary
I want
screen
every
showing the
available
encrypted
unit
data
mobilized
stream flowing to
immediately.
Latveria.
Find whoever is
His lips
responsible.
curled into a barely visible sneer.
Intercept the drone. It
Only
must be
science
captured,
matters,
not
Victor.
destroyed. Do
Only
you hear
what
me?
can be measured,
Capture it.
manipulated, and controlled. But the signal was bouncing back, encrypted in a language that was neither code nor Latin, but something older, something born of the Earth and the deepest cosmos. The phantom virus was not destroyed, it was transformed. The virus, designed to seek technological weaknesses, was now being used as an arcane anchor, giving Doom an unprecedented backdoor into Luthor's network. A sharp, sudden pain lanced through Luthor's mind, a sensation entirely foreign to his controlled, brilliant intellect. He clutched the side of his
Secure
helmet.
the subject.
A faint,
want him
echoing
transferred
whisper
to the
reached
dissection
him,
bay
not through his
immediately. Begin the
comms, but
analysis.
through the very power grid of his
Take the
armor.
artifact to the level 3
Your
lab
mind is a
immediately.
predictable
I
algorithm,
want the
Luthor.
arcane analysis
Doom
started
has
at
already
once.
solved your equation. The voice was laced with an impossible blend of synthetic steel and ancient sulfur. It was the voice of a man who believed himself a god, speaking to a man who believed gods were the enemy. The fight escalated from the cerebral to the physical. A silent, emerald light erupted miles above Metropolis. A single, small, incredibly dense Latverian drone, a perfect sphere of enchanted, molecularly stabilized metal, appeared. It did not fire a single weapon. It simply began to absorb the ambient energy of the city's power grid, a subtle vampiric siphon that Luthor knew would not just cause a blackout, but a complete societal collapse within hours. Doom was attacking the very foundation of Luthor's human supremacy. Luthor roared a command into his comms. Intercept. Do not destroy it. Capture it. I need that technology. I need to dissect the nature of his false godhood.
Doom is
In Latveria, Doom stood before a
achieved what
magical
he never
mirror,
could.
its surface
I alone
swirling
am
with visions of
responsible for the
Luthor's
salvation
increasingly
of
desperate
mankind.
countermeasures. The corner of his mouth beneath the iron mask might have twitched. He knew Luthor would not simply destroy the drone. Luthor's ego, his need to possess and understand the technology of his rival, was a greater flaw than any system bug. Doom activated his own countermeasure. He had foreseen Luthor's desire. The drone was not just a siphon, it was a Trojan horse. A carefully crafted artifact of both science and magic, designed to mimic a simple energy thief while containing a dormant, powerful spell. Once Luthor's engineers brought it into the LuthorCorp labs, the trap would be sprung. The drone was captured within minutes. Luthor, watching the capture feed, felt a surge of triumph, a familiar, intoxicating rush of superiority. Bring it down. Level 3 lab. I want a full breakdown of the arcane signatures within the hour. Let us see what trinkets our costumed monarch is playing with. He did not notice the faint, black smoke curling from the drone's seams. Smoke that smelled faintly of burning sulfur and
Luthor was
ozone.
defeated by his own
The trap
need
had
for
been set.
singularity.
Doom
A
had used
position
Luthor's
Doom
own ambition
already
against him.
occupies.
The real weapon was not the drone itself, but the desperate, all-consuming need of one genius to dismantle the genius of another. The alliance, forged in the momentary fear of annihilation, broke precisely at the moment of victory. The multidimensional entity, a creature of pure, destructive chaos, was finally neutralized. Its cosmic screams, silenced by the combined force of Latverian magic and LuthorCorp's anti-god technology, faded into the emptiness of space. Doom, his armor scarred but his posture rigidly triumphant, turned his attention from the dying embers of the enemy to his reluctant partner. Luthor, his war suit dented, his face pale with exertion, was already smiling, a cold, final, victor's smile. Luthor's command was not spoken. It was transmitted directly into the compromised
True
core of
power
Doom's
is
suit,
understanding the
a rapid-fire
architecture of belief
sequence of
itself.
binary code and psychic
Activate the
dampeners.
weapon.
The nanobot payload, inserted when the two systems briefly merged to fire the final blast, was activated. The goal was not death, but paralysis and total data expropriation. Luthor wanted the secret of Latverian power, the true source of Doom's fusion of magic and science. The universe is saved, Victor. By me, Luthor's voice echoed in the desolate chamber. Your pathetic attempts at divine authority end here. Mankind is free. But Doom had not become the absolute monarch of his nation through blindness. He had anticipated the treacherous nature of their alliance.
But the readings are
Doom's technology, ancient and deceptively simple, had already mapped Luthor's nanobot code. The parasitic technology was not stopped. It was repurposed. A flash of emerald light, not a weapon, but a magical counterspell that only targeted Luthor's technology, erupted from Doom's chest plate. Luthor's warsuit seized, its systems overloading in a shower of sparks and smoke. The nanobots, instead of paralyzing Doom, had been magically inverted to create a brief, focused psychic feedback loop directly into Luthor's cerebral cortex. Luthor gasped, stumbling backward. He saw flashes, not of pain, but of failure. The ghost of Superman's satisfied smirk, the scorn of his father, the burning memory of every time he had been second. The psychic attack was subtle, an echo of his deepest, unacknowledged fear. Doom watched him fall. He did not pursue. The display had been made. Fool, you attack with the predictable logic of a businessman. Doom attacks the soul, the monarch stated, his voice devoid of satisfaction, merely reaffirming a fundamental truth. You have been defeated, not by my power, but by your own relentless need to be the single ultimate authority. An authority Doom already is. He lifted his gauntlet, not to fire, but to gesture to the collapsing energy of the defeated entity. He siphoned a small, contained fragment of the chaotic energy into his suit. A trophy, a lesson, a power-up. Doom turned and, with a silent flash of teleportation, vanished. He left Luthor alone in the dust and debris. Luthor pushed himself up, his armor groaning. The paralysis was receding. He looked at the empty space where Doom had stood, then at the fragment of the cosmic entity Doom had taken. A slow, chilling grin spread across his face, not of defeat, but of renewed, terrifying dedication. He had been outplayed. Not physically, but philosophically. Doom was right. His ultimate weakness was his humanity, his need to prove his worth through empirical, recognizable victory. But he was also right about one thing. He was the only true challenge Doom had ever faced. Luthor activated his long-range comm. Prepare the new project. Operation Alpha Omega. Let him have his petty trinkets. We will prepare a weapon for the one thing he cannot control, absolute human belief. The chamber was silent once more. Two gods of intellect had met, and the universe was saved. But the war for supremacy had only just entered its most terrifying phase. What happens when two people who are right about everything face each other? What happens when two minds, each convinced they are the sole hope for creation, can never agree on a single truth?